Hello everyone, and welcome back to Wargame Red Dragon. We're playing a bit of a themed 1v1 here today. I'm taking a Dutch armored deck, which is always a bit of an interesting choice, and I'm going against an Anzac mechanized deck piloted by Core Brainlets himself. So, we have had a couple of games previously. This is sort of the initial push, Verkennings, lots of AMX13 FL12s going up, and my intention is challenge him in Bravo, challenge him in Charlie Foxtrot, and then have a defensive hold in Golf. So right off the bat we see a couple of Rover Wombats, and I make a mistake right here, right now. These guys are fast moved. And here's the thing. AMX13 FL12 has no stabilizer. So we're in range right now, we could be shooting, but we're not, because I'm still on the fast move off the initial deployment. And we're still on fast move, and now we're taking fire from the Rover Wombats. These guys are attack move, these guys are not, and just then we start shooting in. So a couple of 10-point Rover Wombats get 2 kills on AMX 13 FL12s or similar, and I mean that was 70 points lost for me, 40 points gained. Sorry, 40 points lost for Core, and you can see we do have a couple of differences here. He's capped Echo, I have gone with a 1 CV start, and the reason for that is a couple of M727 iHawks that I want back here the whole time because, well, Anzac has those 1,000-kilogram bombs at the ready, and it's nothing I want any part of. On the right-hand side, we have a lot of Natra and some Stuttruppen, and some AMX Prees just sort of setting out a little bit of a defensive screen here. I had the intention to move a couple of these guys over to block this corner as well, but as it is, we have infantry moving up, we're calling in some reinforcements, and we also have a CV that's going to be set up in Charlie because I don't want this 2-point ticking the whole game. It's not something that I'd really wanted at all. But I just wanted to make sure I had enough boots on the ground to sort of disincentivize a major push at the start. It's why a lot of people will do a 1 CV start instead of a 2. The issue that you have with it is if you get Helo rushed or something like that and you only have 1 CV, well, you're kind of toast. So we do spot a couple of things moving, just briefly a bush ranger up here as well, and this helicopter, I really like it. I mean, only 14 rocket pods I think is the major criticism of this helicopter, but the twin miniguns can do a lot more than you necessarily think. 4-point strength is a little bit light. I'd like to see a little bit better than that off the bush ranger type similar point cost helicopters, but you know, it is what it is. We have reinforcements heading up here from Core as well into Bravo, and my own Natra and AMX Prees are just setting up another defensive screen here, as we have an interesting thing. So this is something I did once from the other side of the board, setting up some AMXs on the side here next to the woods, and the idea is to support any sort of push into these trees where the fire support from these guys gets directly into the action. AMX Prees and Natra sparring with some assault pioneers and their transports, and these guys, they do have just the M9 napalm I guess backpacks, not the napalm launchers, and I think that does limit their range and therefore their usefulness quite a bit. I mean, you'd expect napalm to kill Natra very quickly, and we are getting a fair amount of shots in. I mean, yeah, it was an interesting engagement, went on for quite a while. Double squad of Leopard AS1s, these guys are relatively cheap, but the more interesting bit, I think, is the engagement from Skyhawks. Of course, decent ATGM planes, but we are, well, able to chase them a little bit with the M727. Whatever that third one is, that's the F-111C, that's what I care about. We do get one of the Skyhawks, and F-104Gs are going chasing. So 1 shot, 2 shots, geez. I mean, these guys are relatively cheap, right? But you have them in big numbers because they're only 60 points each, and they were able to get the kill. So 2 big expensive planes lost from Core's side of the field, and that does somewhat make up for that initial good engagement he had on the ground. So a constant stream of AMXs going forward, and my intention is to put pressure on this side of the field again, just to keep the conversation over here. And you can see this guy, pretty good fire support so far. The bow snab shooting in, and unfortunately these assault pioneers were just able to snap into the town before I could get those rocket pods online. So not quite ideal there, but yeah, it is what it is. Sometimes you don't quite get the engagement that you're looking for. Cheetah Prandtl up as well, and the combination here was just because iHawks tend to run out of ammunition relatively quickly, and I'm anticipating at some point I'll need AA, and they'll be out of missiles. But AMX Prees, Natra leading up, and we got vision on somebody, and then the FL12 killed it. Perfect. Couldn't have asked for better. My only criticism of my own deployment so far is I have this 2A1NL anchoring. I was expecting some sort of pressure coming through here, coming through Foxtrot, just right down the pipe, and that's what he's there to guard against, but it was a very expensive investment that so far hasn't seen much use. And, I mean, the Verkenning can be justified as defensive guns with scouting, but the 2A1NL was a little bit harder to justify, so if I had to do this again, I'd probably cut him out of here and take a little bit of a different introductory composition. We could even have taken a command vehicle with us instead of the 2A1 NL, we'd have that +2 point for a while, and we wouldn't be down by 60 points. So it's decisions like that that make or break a game. ATGMs are shooting in now, and it's just AMX pre's, so I actually kept them moving because I'm fine wasting ATGMs on these 5-point vehicles. I'd much rather have them die than something like the FL12. But more ATGMs coming out of this town, and it's just going to be one of those sorts of days. So, it's a good response. He knows he's fighting against Dutch armored, and if you know you're fighting against armor, well, you're going to see a lot of tanks. And that's in part why I'm relying so much on infantry, on the Natra, on the Stutrupin, and on planes is, well, if my opponent expects me to do thing A, I'm going to do thing B. It's a little bit weird, but it's what I was trying. Napalm plane coming in, just attempting to retaliate for the ATGMs. We didn't quite get the kill here, but I don't know, it was interesting. It's a nice large swath of napalm, honestly. I was wondering if I could pair 2 or 3 of these up, if we could just create an entire section denial that could, it could be pretty impactful. So you can see we're both a little bit unwilling to engage so far in this game. We've had light skirmishes, but we're nearly at the 7-minute mark, and there's been no major engagement. So I'm trying to change that here just now. Natra going up into the woods, for Kenning pushing forward, inching forward in Fox. Probably could have done that a bit faster, but I just wanted to encroach and encroach and encroach a little bit faster, one step at a time. Bell 206 takes a couple shots off the cheetah, but I lose the angle here because of this section of hill. So I actually didn't get the kill there, even though I really wanted it. M4 1A1s, and the goofy thing about these is they have such horrible autonomy that they both run out of gas, I think right about here actually, which was kind of goofy. Meanwhile, we have an engagement, Scorpion light tanks rather, on the left-hand side of the board, 20 points each. I don't really think that they perform quite as well as the FL12s, even though, my FL12s and FL15s are a bit more expensive, but the additional point of frontal armor and the additional accuracy and fire rates, not to mention the AP power, they both have their niche, and this is certainly a good use here of those light tanks. I went in trying to deny that section with napalm, but they just kind of drive around it, and this is the big issue with napalm anyway. But we did bait out a Phantom 2. We go chasing with the 104Gs, and that's a lot of damage in. We do get the Phantom 2. Individually a better fighter than my 104Gs as well. So those 4 Sparrow missiles, 7,000 range against airplanes, but both of my 104s, well, never mind. Oh, let's catch that falling 104G. That's been a rough day, buddy. So we lost one of the planes, but again, 60-point plane for a 90-point plane, I'll take that. Bravo has been capped for core, and I'm losing at a +1 again for my opponent. So the idea here was, okay, well that's fine, we'll move up Stutrupin, we'll move up the AMX Prees. Working together, these guys are a very powerful combination, and if I can secure this edge of the woods, Bravo can be counter-capped. It's a very hard section to hold, honestly, for that reason. It can be quite difficult to push someone out of this side of the woods. You wouldn't necessarily think so. There's only one reinforcing route, but you can see I have tripwire units over on the left-hand side. I have not quite gotten enough base defense here on the left-hand side there, but I'd see it off the Huzhou Ren, I'd see it off the Natra, and things like that. And we will eventually get good engagement. Stutrupin with the Carl Gustav M2s, down to 5 of them left, so they've killed that many vehicles on that advance. It really just was kind of an impressive tally for the Stutrupin. But MRAW in towns, and I want no part of that, so we're going to be backing up, getting out of range, and eventually we will be calling in both reinforcements and resupply, because men are made of guns and bullets, oil and bullets in this game. So, with the F4E coming out again, just another Phantom 2, I was going to purchase a couple more Ihawks just to get a more even AA screen, where it seems like this game is going to be decided fighting over Bravo. So, Phantom 2 goes chasing, this is what I wanted, and if my other AA pieces were in range, that would have been a nice thing. We get 2 shots off the Ihawk, 1 off the 104G, chasing now, but not quite able to get the kill. Still, I think it was a nice trap, worked out decently well for us. M4 1A1s going up over the top, and they actually do decent damage here. 10-point tanks, but that frontal armor on the FL12 is not exceptional, and it's just 3. So very nearly got 1 kill there on the AMX-13s, and I am retreating him to get him out of the way. It does decrease my firepower on this section, but hey, you gotta make choices like that all the time. I'd rather have him alive and shooting from a bit farther back than dead for nothing. Natra versus a Chinook, and this was kind of goofy. This has been going on for a little while, and the FALs off the Natra just shooting in for free because the Chinook couldn't quite find a firing angle. Usually that minigun Would have gotten the kill on the Natra by now, but no such luck there for my opponent. And this is the nice thing about this position, you actually have a decent angle sometimes up onto the far section of trees. So we were able to get some shots there that Core I don't think was quite expecting. And with the cap in Foxtrot now, it is back to 0-0, but I have a lot of ground to make up in terms of conquest in this game, right? I mean, 77 points behind, still 28 minutes remaining is not too terrible. And another Napalm Bomber is going to be coming in, just trying to punish infantry in those sections. You can see he does move them out right there. Nice micro from Core, getting out of dodge. And the Phantom 2 comes in chasing, but my plane gets out, and now we have not one, but two double squads of Eyehawks. First volley, second volley, we do only get one hit. And, I mean, that's 4 shots. Shows you the power of ECM and just the unexceptional Eyehawks with that 50% accuracy. They don't always get the kill that you think they would, but now we've made a statement. You come in here, you're gonna get shot at. It's not gonna be a lot of fun. So make sure that those bombing runs are well considered, and we haven't actually seen a 111C since that first one went down, probably for that reason. It's a guaranteed one-way trip, which means that the bombing run has to be worth all of that value. Commando is coming in now, and these guys will chew through my Natra in no time at all. The FAL, by the stats, just naively, you'd think that this is a decent gun, but in the hands of militia, nothing is a decent gun. The Sneb is trying to come up here, and this really frustrated me during the game, because I have the range now. It's just the terrain here, that slight hill and then the trees, there was no firing angle, and I didn't want to come over to the right-hand side, because if I go closer to these towns, there could very well be a Manpads team in that section just waiting to get the kill. So the AMX Pre that was pushed forward to try and support is now going to be moved back, and I'm calling in some more reinforcements as that Sneb really just kind of disappointed a little bit at that angle. But MRAW here are a bit more vulnerable, and we do get the shot off. That's one of the 2 volleys off this Sneb. And being able to buy these things for 30 points, I think, is a real strength of the Dutch deck, because we did get the kill on those. I mean, jeez. Yeah, okay, that's going to be a tracked rapier returning fire, but I mean, we killed some MRAW, and a little bit better defensive play would have made a big difference. In the meantime, those cheap leopards here, the AS1s, were taken out by my Stuttruppen, and now this double stack of M4A1s, the ones that ran out of fuel completely, are going to be just taken out by the Stuttruppen as well. We've resecured that side. It is a common infiltration point, so I did like having Stuttruppen here. It's also a predictable firing position, so I expected to take artillery and maybe have to reinforce here. And actually, look at this. No artillery, but 1, 2, 3 BAC Strike Master napalm planes, as well as an escort there. I'm actually not sure what that escort was, but whatever it is. Oh, that's a 111C. Look at that. Bombing run going in, looking for my command vehicle in this zone, not able to find it because I was a little farther forward than he expected, and we get so many kills off of that. The 111C dies, 2 of the Strike Masters down, and 2 planes of mine making it out. So that was really, I think, part of the straw that's beginning to break the camel's back, while at the same time we have Natra and AMX Prius pushing forward, killing a Scorpion, which is kind of interesting. I didn't know how that would really go. And there are more leopards on this side, but my Stuttruppen are still alive, still have 5 shots left in that Carl Gustav M2, and even Panic, they'll have decent enough accuracy with this, just as long as they can remain, you know, not stunned anyway. But this was nice. So Natra and AMXs don't have the firepower to really do much against any sort of sizable reinforcements, and these guys are making the mistake of shooting in the M2 Browning at this vehicle, which the 3050 with 1 frontal armor isn't going to take that much damage from the Browning. Meanwhile, we missed shooting at the commandos on the open ground. So now they're in the trees, now they're in their element, and their own guns can start to answer back. I only wish that the Bren was probably turned off and the M2 allowed to do its work, because the Prees are what's going to be doing most of the killing here in that section, not the Natra. And it's just it's another position that's not worth bombing, right? Because there's a lot of stuff here, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25 points. There was a little bit more than that. I did lose some Natra, but now we have another interesting play. So Natra moving up onto the top and distracting everything up here as the FL12 goes up. It's 1 shot, side shot, 1 kill, and reloading that 13 round per minute gun. Second shots on the frontal armor. We do take return fire alive with 1 point of strength left. And now it's between a shaken MRV and an FL12. We do get the shot, we get the second shot as well, as the Panic slows down that thing's fire rate, and that's all you need. So Natra, cheap distraction. And then the FL12 up there to get 60 points worth of kills on the high ground in Fox. So a Bell 206 is spotting, my Cheetah's moving over, this guy's cycling back because at 1 strength and Panic I don't trust that main gun, but we are going to be able to exploit that relatively soon. So in the meantime, we have a couple of engagements over here. My Stuttruppen are moving just defensively to position in front of this command vehicle. We are now at a +2 as both Golf and Bravo have been capped, in one case capped, in the other case counter-capped. And, I mean, Core still controls enough of Golf that he could countercap here if he wanted to, but that doesn't solve the issue of Foxtrot. So you can see a couple of Leopards are coming over. It looks like they're going up to the high ground, probably to engage with my FL-12 that they might think are still there, I'm not really sure. But in the meantime, we do have that nice defensive firepower, and Stuttruppen going up against Assault Pioneers is not what you want to have happen with the Stuttruppen, but the YPRs will get some decent shots in, MRAW as well. I mean, just a nice weapons team hold on that forward town in Bravo can be so difficult to break, even with good infantry, even with good tools. In the meantime, MRAW, sparring with Natra, they should win that engagement, but they won't win against the Stuttruppen coming to back them up. And actually, I was surprised by this, but the AMX Pre able to get the final say against that scout vehicle, so unexpected things can happen. We did lose the YPRs here as commandos are moving up, but now we are going to have something to say about this. I'm trying to get both squads of Stuttruppen engaging. No line of sight on the second squad. He was attack move, but in the wrong direction. So right now it's rough 2v1 against a single squad of Stuttruppen there on the side, and now we have both guns engaging, but one group is already panicked. So what's the cure for this? The F-84F rocket pod plane. 50 points of rocket pods coming to get your kills. And, I mean, yeah, we have a kerosene leak. This guy's not exactly happy. We did lose the plane. Worth it? No. Send a message? Yeah, I mean, it sent a message. The right message, I have no idea. But it did at least save the Stuttruppen from their imminent demise, if only for a second. I mean, 30-50s, double guns. I mean, that's pretty worth it. I only wish they had better frontal armor value. Comparing them versus the AMX Pre's, I'd take the AMX Pre every time. And the reason is, having twice the guns doesn't matter if it can't survive long enough to use them. So the AMX Pre's better survivability is just, I think, a little bit of a better option than that double gun, one frontal armor vehicle. So triple stack of AS1s coming up. These guys, 35 points each, are going to be met by my AMX 13 FL12s. I'm trying to move the Natra over to get them to turn their guns, but I'm a little bit slow. So you can see the stop and then the re-attack move here, but again, not quite quick enough. I was just lucky they engaged the bow first. So 2 shots, 1 kill, a little bit of returning fire coming back in, and I do lose one of the FL12s, nearly both. And let's see who can get the final say. Swing and a miss off the AS1, that is going to cost him, and then my other FL12 does get taken out. So overall, slight win there from Core, but I mean, the one remaining AS1 is half damage, so not exactly in a great position. Natra moving up and shooting in at the Assault Pioneers. I was trying to prime another napalm bombing run or just chip them down with things I don't really care about. And these guys are, the Assault Pioneers are 15 points, Natra are 5, so if I can wear them down through endless Natra spam, it works, technically, I guess. Kind of. So that is pretty rough. And then the AMX 13 FL15s should be able to get the kill. Yep, there it is. And these guys have a little bit better AP power than their scout cousins, but I mean, yeah, that was pretty brutal. Bell 206 is coming over to see what's there, and in response, my Cheetah Prendle's moving up. Another Strike Master coming in, and the Napalm was pretty relentless, but I do have a Block 1 and a 104G answering. These decks, by the way, were both 1985. That's why you don't see some of the more expensive modern stuff coming in, but yeah, it was kind of fun. I really did enjoy it, and we do get 1 kill there. We lose an FL15, but I think that's relatively worthwhile. And I guess the 85 question is probably something that I should have said earlier, but I mean, such is life. And with me pushing out of Fox, that is going to be a surrender from Core. 1665 kills, 715 losses, a little bit lopsided there, and I think it was just one of those where neither one of us was really quite sure how these decks worked. And unfortunately, the throwing away expensive bombers for minimal return ended up driving a points differential that was hard to make up for on the ground. So, units that did well, AMX 13 FL12 Scout Tank got lots of kills, only which his fellows had been so lucky. Yeah, Stuttruppen, Cheetah Prendle, look at that, 1, 2, 3 Strike Masters, a Bush Ranger, Phantom 2, and a Bell 206 off of a single Cheetah Prendle. Don't underestimate these guys, they are very, very deadly. And that's going to be all we've got for you guys today, so thank you all for hanging around. We'll see you again real soon.